Hey, it's Heather from Thicketworks, and today I'm going to build this gorgeous holiday sleigh created on the Cricut Maker using lightweight chipboard and cardstock. Lots of lovely details are included. You can make this as fancy or as plain as you would like. Files for creating the adorable little gift boxes are included as well. Two styles of boxes are included. Some have removable lids and others fold closed and stay closed using a tiny flap. Alright, once you've cut all of your pieces, it's time to begin. We'll do a quick overview here. Now, to begin with, we have the sides of the sleigh. Each side consists of 3 layers of 22-point or lightweight chipboard. That's roughly equivalent to cereal box weight. The bottom of the sleigh is these 2 layers of chipboard. Decorative cross braces for the sleigh rails are cut from chipboard as well, but the rails themselves consist of 3 layers of good quality cardstock. These will all be laminated together and will be surprisingly strong at the end of the process. These 3 layers of chipboard act as the closed front end of the sleigh. These 3 layers add up to 1 decorative back with this cutout for a back cushion. These will slot into the back angle of the sleigh. These 3 layers, when added together, create the seat for the sleigh. And again, there's a little cutout for a faux cushion. The seat is supported by these horizontal tabs that fit into the slots. And then finally, we have 4 layers of cardstock, 2 for each of the outer decorative overlays. These will hide all of the construction slots and create a lovely pattern on each of the exterior sidewalls of our holiday sleigh. There. Okay. Oh, and the little gift boxes, of course. The gift boxes make use of the scoring wheel and save all of the little decorative cutouts. We'll be using those later on. I'm going to begin this build by laminating together the sidewalls for the sleigh. Each sidewall consists of 3 layers of lightweight chipboard, and I'm using Zig 2-way glue to laminate the first 2 layers together. To help with the precision required when aligning these pieces, I often reach for a pair of tweezers. That helps me to gently pull and push both pieces into alignment. Once they're lined up correctly, I'll use a brayer to press everything even more firmly together. Okay, that's all 3 layers for the first sidewall. I'll put some heavy weights on top and allow this to cure, and then repeat the process for the other sidewall. The little seat goes together precisely the same way, as does the board that fits at the front end of the sleigh. Make sure to line up the tabs correctly. Again, a pair of tweezers really helps to get everything aligned. And then the 3rd layer is placed on top and allowed to cure. This is the back panel, and these 2 blank panels get layered first, aligning all of the construction tabs carefully, and then the final layer is placed on top. The bottom panel for the sleigh consists of just 2 simple layers. There are 4 of the little decorative cross braces for the sleigh rails. Create 2 of these braces each consisting of 2 layers of lightweight chipboard. Sometimes when you use a brayer, it tends to make the material curve a little bit, and this is easily corrected by turning the piece over and brayering the other side. Once you've laminated all of your chipboard components together and they've had a chance to cure, it's time to harden them. For this, I really like to use Starbond Super Thin. It's very fast and it penetrates into the chipboard material, hardening the fibers and resulting in a substance that feels like hardwood. It's super important to have adequate ventilation when working with superglue. You also see that I'm working on some manky old Teflon crafting sheets. I reserve these for my hardening, and yeah, they look pretty ugly, but it's extremely helpful to have a flexible surface that you can peel away from your hardened pieces. Then everything gets neatened up with files. Now I'm laminating together the rails for the sleigh. Each rail unit consists of 3 layers of cardstock. And again, I'm using zig adhesive to create the lamination. This adhesive remains damp long enough for me to make final adjustments before finalizing everything. Now I'm doing the same thing with the overlay pieces that will be glued on the exterior. Now it's time to begin constructing. The bottom fits into the slots at the bottom of the sidewalls, and a little bit of super glue is used to tack it in place. Next, the seat gets added into the slots that run horizontally. And finally, the back fits into the slots along the angle, and then tacked into place with more super glue. Once that's set up for a few moments, you can flip the piece over. And now comes the tricky part, which is threading all of the tabs into their corresponding slots. Once you have the tabs and the slots all lined up and pressed into place, hold the construction together with one hand and add drops of super glue right over the top of the slots. Give it a few moments to thoroughly set up. Now we'll add the panel that closes off the front edge of the sleigh. It pops right into place here. And there, the main body is complete. It's just going to require some smoothing out with whatever sanding tools you have available to you. I've decided that I'm going to stain my sleigh with this beautiful Bombay India ink in cherry red. It dries almost immediately, especially if you have a heat tool handy. And it's such a rich, pretty color. You can add additional layers of India ink to build up the intensity of color if you like. Now I'm hardening the sleigh rails. Even though they're made from flimsy cardstock, once the hardening is complete, and super glue has been added and smoothed in on both sides, these will be surprisingly sturdy. I'm reaching for an oil-based paint pen to add a glossy black finish to these supports and to the sleigh rails themselves. I love working with these paint pens. The paint dries really, really quickly, and it gives a beautiful glossy black finish. Although this sleigh looks amazing when left simple, I'm always up for an excuse to reach for my Juliet stamps designed by Michelle Ward. I'm going to be adding this beautiful scroll work pattern over the top of the overlays using baked texture in Ancient Amber, one of my favorite gold embossing powders ever. It has a richness that has more of an antique feel than most of the gold embossing powders on the market, and I really love that. Now the overlay panels can be adhered directly to the exterior walls. Yep, I like the way that this is coming along. Nice. Now it's time to create some faux cushions. And we'll be using these cutouts from the chair back and chair seat and glue them directly to a peeled piece of Dollar Tree foam core board, which is Ready Board. And I'm choosing this particular foam core because it's so soft and easy to work with. Once I've glued these little rounded rectangles onto the bare surface of the foam, I'm trimming away all the excess around the exterior. My knife isn't quite as sharp as it should be, but we'll be neatening up all of these edges. So don't worry if it's a little uneven after you've cut everything. An emery board is really all you need in order to shape this foam. It's so soft. But don't worry, once we add paint to the surface, it's going to become much more durable. The chipboard templates act as a guide, helping you to gently round over the edge while maintaining that precise shape. Just do a slight bevel here and make sure it's round and pillowy. And yeah, it generates a lot of dust. Now, here's one of the coolest ways I've found to use my 1, 2, 3 blocks. I'm lining this one up over the larger of the pillow forms, and I'm taking a ballpoint pen with the pen tip removed and using the 1, 2, 3 block as a template. I want these cushions to look as though they're tufted. The spacing on the 1, 2, 3 blocks is perfect for this scale of tufting. And once all those little divots are in place, you can then begin to simulate the kinds of folds and creases that are traditional with tufted cushions. I'm using this very delicate and smooth agate burnishing tool for this operation, and it's gliding over the surface of the foam core just beautifully. Now I'll use a needle file and help increase some of the dimensionality especially around the edges of the cushion. Tufted surfaces traditionally have a sort of diamond shape effect. And within each of the diamonds, you'll find little creases and folds where the fabric has been stretched between the buttons. Once you've established that basic diamond pattern between each of the button areas, adding in those tiny sort of cat's whisker folds and creases can really help sell this look. And then increase the pillowing effect right at the edges using either a needle file or an emery board. I love sculpting on this foam core because it's so soft, but we want to strengthen it once we've got our sculpted shapes in place. I'm using a layer of pure PVA over the top and allowing that to dry before coming in with Black India ink as my base layer. I'm using ink because it's so fluid and it's not going to obscure any of the detail that we've just created. And while I allow that to dry, I'm going to attach the rails to the sleigh. I just put down a bead of adhesive, position the top of the rail, and then add some weights and allow it to set up for a few minutes. Then repeat on the other side. If you need to adjust the space between these uprights, it's easy to do with some sticky back craft foam cut into strips. You can adhere those strips on the interior of these angled cross beams and then add adhesive onto the upper surface of that foam. You may not need to, but if you do, it's an easy way to make certain that these cross brace pieces fit perfectly between the rails. Okay, now that the ink is dry, it's time to dry brush with some acrylic craft paint. You can use whatever colors you like, but I wanted this to look like traditional leather upholstery, so I'm going with a medium brown. I'm then adding a highlighting layer with a creamy white. And then over the top, a very thin wash of black and brown. To simulate the look of buttons, I'm just adding a dab of PVA glue into each of these divots and then placing little gold seed beads inside of those little craters. The glue will dry completely clear and you'll just see tiny points of gold. To dress up the rails of the sleigh, I'm reaching for UV resin and a dotting tool. This will simulate rivets. I just love the extra bit of texture that this creates. So simple to do and so easy to cure. Again, this is completely optional, but here I've added a layer of triple thick gloss glaze into which I'm embedding some rhinestones. To dress the piece up even more, I've painted the little offcuts in these pretty shapes and I'm adding more rhinestones. The seats are fully cured and ready to install. And because they have the chipboard shape backing pieces, they fit perfectly into place. No guesswork. I love the way that looks. And with the layers of PVA and paint, they're very sturdy now. Yep, we're definitely getting there. I'm just going to glue a few of these little decorative elements in the places that make sense to my eye. Here I'm dressing up the back of the sleigh with a few more of these little decorative elements. And now the sleigh is fully constructed, and it's time to move on to creating the tiny gift boxes. There are two styles. This very simple style that folds and has a flap that keeps the upper lid in place when it's closed. I just love that. So cute. And let's go ahead and put one together. The scoring tool for the Cricut Maker has created these very precise lines along which we can crease. And then reinforce those creases by folding them and pressing them into place with your fingertips until all of those score lines have been reinforced. Then add a little bit of adhesive to the flaps and press them into place. Then the box can be closed and opened at will and decorated any way that you like. The other style of box has a removable lid, and we'll use the same techniques to put these together. Fold along the crease lines and fold all the little flaps. But this time, instead of a liquid adhesive, I'm using some very narrow score tape. It's important to burnish the surface of the score tape with a bone folder before you peel away any of the backing paper. And then just bring the corners together and press it firmly into place. Now the last two flaps get moved into position and then reinforced with a bone folder. And now you have a tiny open box. Fold all of the lines for the lid and put tiny amounts of adhesive on the little bitty flaps at the corners. and fold up the edges and glue everything into place. And now you have a little gift box with a removable lid that you can decorate any way you would like. It would be really fun to cut these from patterned paper, but they're easy to dress up with just some embellishments or even washi tape like you see here. However you choose to decorate these little gift boxes, don't forget to tuck in a few tiny treasures. And now our holiday sleigh and a wealth of tiny gifts are all ready for the holiday season. I had a wonderful time designing and building this little project. It's a magical time of year, and I'm so grateful to get to share some of it with you. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Until next time, bye.